Hola amigos de TvAgro, yo soy Andrés Solorzano.
Hello friends of TvAgro. I'm Andrés Solorzano. I'm one of the managers and founders of the project Abagro, conscious agriculture in the municipality of Gachancipá. Today I invite you to take a little look at what biodynamic agriculture is.
Bueno, nosotros iniciamos este camino
We started this path about 2 years ago with organic agriculture on our farm, located in the San Bartolomé area.
y en ese proceso
And in this learning process, we came across biodynamic agriculture, which is a type of agriculture that was born in Germany more than 100 years ago from studies, philosophers,
personajes
some very specific characters that gave rise to its creation. One of them is Rudolf Steiner. And basically what biodynamics wants to rescue is the wisdom, experience, and ancestral knowledge applied to agriculture.
agricultura, una de las herramientas más importantes
One of the most relevant tools applied to this type of agriculture is to take into account the cosmos. Biodynamic agriculture refers to the cosmos as the interaction and the variables that exist between the soil and the sky,
la posición de estos y el movimiento de todo este tipo de variables
whether the sun, the stars, the planets, the position of these and the movements of the variables generates a specific impact on agriculture production, on the plants, on the soil, and one of the tools we use the most are the lunar calendars. For example, there was a lunar almanac that was manufactured and developed by a person who has been in this study for more than 10 years in Colombia.
qué tipo de actividades hacer
And what the lunar calendar basically tells us is what kind of activities to do depending on the position of the moon, the time, the position of the planets. For example, there is a month of May. Yesterday, we carried out the activity of edaphic fertilization to apply it in our orchid,
y nos indicaba que era
specifically to species of medium-long cycle, such as cauliflower and broccoli. And it indicated that it was fertilization, and that is why we did this type of activity. The ancestral knowledge is one that has been around for a very long time, that ancient civilizations used it and it worked for them. From the study of it, from the analysis of it in the field, and from the result they obtained from this type of knowledge, these type of calendars were manufactured and used.
pero sabemos y somos conscientes de
Those of us who are part of this work team are professionals in different areas, but we know and we are aware of the importance and how fundamental it is to implement a responsible, sustainable type of agriculture.
que las prácticas agrícolas convencionales
We dedicated ourselves to this mainly out of conviction and love for the field, because we saw that conventional agriculture practices, instead of contributing, were deteriorating many aspects of society.
entonces por eso nos inclinamos a la
On the one hand, the health of consumers, on the other hand, the health of the soil, and finally that is triggering many problems worldwide. So that is why we dedicated ourselves to agroecology, to organic agriculture in principle. But when we came across biodynamics, we realized that this type of agriculture was very special, because apart from taking into account the perspective of the cosmovision, the planet, the stars, the moon, it also takes into account medicinal plants for its preparations, ancestral processes that take more than a year, and all those kind of things that affects the soil to be healthier. And that is one of the objectives, that a healthy soil is generated and built.
dinámica es que la finca
With a healthy soil, we do not need to apply so many insecticides, fungicides. We do not need to resort to things outside the farm, because one of the principles and objectives of biodynamics is that the farm is capable of self-sufficiency, that we do not have to go and buy from external agents things that the farm itself can provide us with. To control pests, allelopathy is implemented, which is the medicinal plants and flowers water collection systems are implemented to reduce the use of gasoline, the use of energy,
y que se tenga en cuenta todos los
so all these types of parameters. Biodynamic agriculture also requires us to have forests so that an ecosystem is generated that generates life on the farm and that all the agents that are part of the ecosystem are taken into account: plants, animals, flowers, water resources. That all this can find a harmony and balance, and that at the same time a productive system can be generated that does not affect the balance.
A este lado tenemos habas.
Today we are going to take a tour of our beautiful vegetable garden. On this side we have 3 types of broad beans, a giant one, a red one and a small broad bean. These broad beans were harvested, will be cut and will become green manure in our bed.
Negras, verdes.
Likewise, on this side we have beans of different colours and with various combinations black, green. When they are harvested, the same thing is done as with broad beans. If you follow me, here we have leek onion. This onion here in our farm comes out as a baby onion. That is to say, a small onion but with a high flavour. If we continue, here we recently planted zucchinis.
Porque hay
These are green, yellow, and we plant them according to the calendar that we have because there are different vegetables. There are root, fruit, leaf, and flower ones. If we continue here, there are some spinach, and throughout our garden, you will see that we have weeds.
lo que está muy bajo. Entonces,
This is always an indicator that measures what is high in the soil and what is very low. So if we have a lack of potassium, oxygen, and phosphorus, the weeds will tell us. On this side, we have long onions that, although they are small, are very tasty. In fact, this onion is typical in the savanna of Bogota.
tabacos.
If we continue along our beds, you will see tobaccos. We use them as pesticides and insecticides. We make broths of tobacco, nettle, and we also have on the tips of the sidewalks, we have different aromatic spicy plants which repel all insects, and that is called allelopathy.
Como van a ver, en nuestras aceras tenemos algunas.
As you will see, we have some vegetables mixed, and that is good because one vegetables contribute to the other vegetable that is next to it or helps to subtract insects, fungi, and other diseases.
En ese lado tenemos otra asiática que se llama acelga china.
On that side, we have the Chinese chard, and you will see that throughout our orchard, we leave the flowers so that the pollinators such as bees and bumblebees, which are important for the crops, can arrive.
Flor, sacamos las semillas.
Additionally, from the flower, we take the seeds that are multiplied and sown throughout our garden after. Many times, yellow leaves are taken to our kitchen because we have the conception that hollow leaves or damaged fruits are not good for the market.
Para el mercado. Y eso es lo que
And that is what we are also looking for in this place. To change this conception that yellow leaves with holes or defects in vegetables are bad.
esas orgánicas. Es lo bueno en la.
And on the contrary, that is a good thing because they are a sign that they are organic vegetables. As they say, in the imperfect is perfection. We continue on the road and we will find different broccoli, cauliflower, parsley, onion,
Tenga variedad en su plato y color.
because what we are looking for is that our customer has variety in his plate as well as a lot of color because each color brings a different nutrient.
Ahora les vamos a mostrar un poco.
Now we are going to show you a little bit of our composting segment, the elaboration and the collection of organic material.
Orgánica va a la biofábrica.
All the collection of this material goes to the biofactory. That is, the pruning we do in the orchard, the trimmings, the cut grass, what we can from the trees in the perimeter fences. Everything that is organic matter we store in the biofactory.
Tiene que someterse a un proceso de picarse bien.
And that has to undergo a process of chopping well, so that there is no fibrous material and smaller parts are left so that it can decompose more easily. And finally, we make compost from a specific method that we implemented, biodynamics.
Es un método particular de hacer el compost en capas.
This is a particular method of making compost in layers, always on top of the soil. Green material has to be incorporated to raise the temperature,
Muchos ya conocemos.
and make the composting process that many of us already know. To that, we have to incorporate a broth of manure diluted in water, and finally also some mineral components that are not easy to find and that depends on the location and the needs of the farm.
Calcio a través de la cáscara de huevo molida.
For example, calcium is incorporated through ground eggshell or a little phosphoric rock. And finally, to make this biodynamic compost, we must incorporate the biodynamic preparations. The main ones are chamomile, valerian, oak, nettle, and dandelion.
Que nuestro compost
That is what we make our compost, has a different strength and vitality.
preparados.
Each one of these preparations is made from a special elaboration. There are some that last a year or more to prepare and be ready, and that is what will make our compost something very special when we incorporate it to the soil.
Por último, les queremos extender
Finally, we want to extend a very special invitation to you to follow us on our Instagram, Abagro. There will be posting more things about biodynamic agriculture, our process, which is still in learning stage.
capacitación.
All this year should be training for yourselves to see and become familiar with the subject. We are currently in production of vegetables from our harvest, and you can order from us weekly. We deliver to Chia, Kajika, Gachancipá, and Bogota once or twice a week. You can contact us at WhatsApp 312-457-4982.
Finalmente, les queremos
And finally, we want to extend a special invitation to people who have farms, to people who already practice agroecology, to those who produce organically and want a different alternative,
motivo para incurrir en la biodinámica.
because our reason for entering biodynamics initially was to seek alternatives and different possibilities for the farmer, especially for the agroecological, organic farmer and all those currents that seek a similar goal. What we want to do is look for new markets, new marketing channels,
Buscar nuevos mercados.
new opportunities for the farmer that are more profitable, because biodynamic agriculture is marketed through a seal called Demeter. This is an international seal, and there are already many products that are marketed through this brand. And what do we want to do?
Queremos hacer nosotros, conformar un grupo
Form a group from the producers of Cundinamarca and Boyacá that begin to engage in this type of agriculture, and between all of us do a collective work and production
y producir cosas
to make things that have greater commercial potential and generate a positive environmental and social impact.
Bueno amigos, espero
Well friends, I hope this has been a small look at biodynamic agriculture to encourage you to learn a little more about this subject. I swear we'll guarantee a better future for all of us. You can follow us on Instagram as Abagro Co,
o nos pueden
or you can contact us by WhatsApp or phone call at 312-457-4982.